Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Cover Your Assets. So great to have you. Another beautiful Saturday morning. Actually, going to be pretty mild today, which is a great day to get out and do some yard work and things around the house. We have another fabulous show with an entrepreneur, somebody I've been working with for quite a long time, and he is quite impressive. Very honestly, as a young man, and I don't want to embarrass him as a young man, because, at this point, everybody's kind of seemingly like a young man to me.
I hate to break it to you, but you're getting kind of ancient.
I'm telling you, man. Jeez, what am I, like 35 now, I think, or something like that?
Yeah, if you're 35, then I'm like 6.
Yeah, well, come on. Just play with me here, all right? So we're going to first first part of the show, we're going to cover a little bit about Josh's background, because I'm always intrigued. We're somebody who has the strength of character to start a business. And when I say start a business, you've heard on this show many times me make the distinction between somebody who's a small business owner, whose business really has no end sale value as compared with a real business owner where they're building an asset for sale. And that asset has profit above and beyond their income. And maybe that asset also owns commercial real estate. All of those three things fit for Josh Swisher. And so those things make him a real business owner in the way that I describe it. And to do that in a lifetime, let alone the age that he is pretty doggone impressive. We're going to be talking about that, where he comes from. The other thing that we're going to be talking about is the significant changes in the insurance industry. Both Evan and I, Evan having is an insurance agent, have spoken about this numerous occasions, but kind of sprinkled in as opposed to just really sitting on it. And we're going to do a little bit of that today, because it has really changed, and it is actually in the process of change right now. So with that, let me welcome Josh Swisher to the show. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much, Todd. I'm honored to be here. I mean, it's been a fun journey getting to know you over the last how many years, and I mean, it's been a great journey, and I'm just honored to be here today.
Well, you and I, we've met for weeks and months and years. And there's been a lot of changes that have taken place, incredible changes that have taken place in your business. And now the industry is making a sharp right turn, and we're going to talk about that. Tell me where you're from originally, Josh.
I'm born and raised originally in Coon Rapids, Minnesota, Mercy Hospital.
That's now you're really going back. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right across the street from my grandparents on the Mississippi River. My family's always been around the Anoka, Champlin area, Coon Rapids. And then we moved to Andover, went kindergarten through 9th at Andover Elementary through high school, transferred to St. Francis, graduated there in 2009.
He's a Minnesota boy.
Yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
sir.
So did you play any sports?
I played baseball for about 9 years until I didn't make the team in high school, and then started skateboarding and dirt biking.
Well, so right away, just folks who are listening, I'm immediately looking to find Josh's thing, because the idea of somebody who has confidence, typically they found their thing at a relatively early age, gave them confidence and allowed them to do things that maybe other people didn't do. And I have no doubt, because I meet with Josh and I speak with him, he speaks with confidence and authority, not in an arrogant way, but in a powerful way that internally I know the guy's got confidence. So I'm looking for that. That's kind of it. So you told me that your grandfather had you working early. Tell me a little bit about that. Maybe you should tell me a little bit about your grandfather, just right there.
Well, there's actually a lot of history of the family in that area. My great grandfather, L.O. Jacob, actually owned a lot of land in the area. There's L.O. Jacob Elementary in Coon Rapids, but that was on my maternal side. But my grandfather, James Swisher, he was a World War II veteran. And he, when I was young, probably starting 11, I'd just start raking leaves, do painting projects, mowing his lawn, and he would just always make a ceremony of it, of sitting there and writing the check and handing it over to me. And he would pay me. I was just a young kid, $20 for this, $10 for that, $50 for that. And it just started like, oh, I work hard, rewarded. I work hard, I'm rewarded. And he just let me figure it out. He never told me how to do anything. I'd make mistakes. I'd mess things up. And I never criticized all those things. I mean, it grew my confidence. I painted his garage when I was like 13 years old. I cleaned his gutters, climb on the roof off of his Morse code radio tower that he had at his house. I mean, he was an amazing man.
Well, so, all right. So that says to me he was fostering an entrepreneurial spirit within you. What did he do for a living?
He was an insurance, actually. Funny enough, he was an insurance agent. And then like his other people in the family, had been in farming and, farm loans, actually, and stuff like that. So, yeah, but
I come from a farm. What does that mean? Farm loans? What do you mean?
I don't know. He didn't, but like another on the maternal side, LO and people like that,
he didn't sell crop insurance, did he?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I know I ended up talking to a old farmer years ago in Nowthen, with Greenberg Implement, old Harvey. He's now passed. He remembered him. He's like, yeah, I remember him. He actually did our farm loan for the property like way back when. So like a lot of history there.
Well, that's interesting. Farm loan. To USDA did man. I'm just thinking. I'm harkening back to the '80s when I was battling the collapse of the elevators during the farm crisis. So in any event, so he had you doing a lot of stuff, and he was rewarding you, kind of showing you that if you do work, you get rewarded, and that resonated with you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just loved it. I loved him, and I loved spending time there. He would sit there smoking his pipe and doing Morse code, and I just spent many, many hours just sitting in his study with him and hanging out. And then from there, it kind of, there's all other ventures that potentially came from it, but that was probably the youngest I can remember having the opportunity to like be rewarded that way.
What did your mom and dad do?
My mom, she was a child support officer in Milk County for many years. When I was born, actually, she worked at the McDonald's by Noka Ramsey there, but she ended up going to law school while I was in middle school, and she ended up doing family law for a little bit and having her own firm, and then she ended up doing prosecution until retirement for counties around the state. And my dad was a teacher at Fredmore Middle School, now known as the Anoka Center for the Arts. He was there for about 25 years teaching middle school English and history.
Wow. So how old was your mother when she went to law school?
I mean, in her 40s.
That is impressive in and of itself.
Yeah, she went to William Mitchell College of Law, and she would go after work, for years. I mean, she was, she would go and do night school.
Did she ever have her own firm?
Yes. She ran out of our house doing family law,
So that was the family law, was her own firm.
Yeah.
God. Well, see, there's entrepreneurialism. Funny thing, most attorneys go to law school, doesn't even occur to them that is really more often than not a self-employed endeavor, unless you're going to work for corporate.
Yeah, I'm surrounded by attorneys. My sister, obviously,
right.
Nicole,
yes,
she's a highly, highly successful small office mergers and acquisitions attorney. Yeah, she's transitioned.
She worked with private equity when I first met her, right?
Yes, she's transitioned into a little bit of a different role now. So.
Yeah, very good. Very good. So how about your first entrepreneurial experience? What was the first time that you ventured into trying to make money on your own, rainmaker, the whole 9 yards?
It was just doing what I was doing for my grandfather, for other people. Well, actually, you know what? I would say it was my first job, real job, for my neighbor at 15, right? I was doing the lawn care and stuff, and I'd talk to a neighbor here and there, but I'd started roofing when I was 15 years old, and I'd sat in the truck in the front driver's seat with my neighbor. He would pick me up. I couldn't drive. I saw everything that he was doing.
So wait a minute. He was a roofer?
Yes, he was a roofer. So I started roofing when I was 15. Uh-huh. And I saw everything from the inside out. Everything. The conversations, the phone calls, the logistics, the labor. His work ethic was beyond anything I've ever seen very much after. I mean, he worked, I think, 365 days before he got married when he was younger. I mean, the guy, he's still probably out there just kicking butt. So, I mean, he's an amazing man. But I started with him. I saw that from the backside. But then at the same time, I started doing side work myself. Why not? Still doing lawn care here and there, snow plowing. I bought a snowplow truck in 2010, which that's an
How old were you then?
18.
Oh, wow.
So I was going to Anoka Ramsey Community College because when I graduated in 2009, we were in mid-recession. Like, I saw the people that I was working with in the construction industry and friends and family and stuff. I saw people devastated. There was no roofing work. It was, I saw the back end of that stuff too. I saw the devastation in the households, and yeah, it was rough. There was not a lot of work. So I started going on Craigslist and just posting side gigs while I was going to college at Anoka Ramsey. And January 10th, 2010, I took an intro to business class with Dr. John Mago, who I'm on the business advisory board at Anoka Ramsey with now. And I learned what an LLC was. And that night I started the LLC that now is Northface Construction. So
folks, here's a very interesting and intriguing component about Josh. I work with, coach, strategize with a lot of business owners, and a lot of them are frankly incapable of making the changes they need to make. I laughingly like to say I'm not making casual suggestions. I'm telling you what to do. Just do it. Josh is a guy who just does it, changes direction, sees something good, and when he makes the decision, he implements. And that has been the most impressive thing about him. And I want you to remember that thing, because it's one of the most important components I have noted when working with people who I've watched become successful in front of my eyes. Josh is one of those guys. The gentleman that you talked about, I get from that you had an exposure of hard work and that influenced you. I think it's always so very important that when you start your first position, at least in your first real job as an adult, that you are aligned with somebody who is successful, because your sense of the business is from that person. And it can be good and it can be bad, and it's hard to overcome a first impression. So you had that. Did he scale his business in the way that you did, or did you have to go out and do that on your own?
I had to go and do that on my own. He always had the mindset of like, keep it small, keep it simple, keep it all right.
Right.
I saw it differently because of my education in business. I ended up going for my entrepreneurship degree. So that kind of molded me while I was running this business on the side and getting my builder's license. I'm like sitting in class and I'm bored like any other college student. I'm like, well, I might as well try writing on paper like a business plan. I might as well write, my mission, my vision, my strategic plan, and apply those things now to something that might actually make me money instead of theoretically. So then that's kind of what set me off on like, all right, I'm going to build a business and not just a job. And also, like, I started at a young age, roofing is hard. Yes. I was having back problems at 18 years old, and I still suffer from that stuff now. So I knew.
And that's why you mountain bike, right? Because that makes it better.
Yeah, it does.
Right.
Well,
sure.
A little bit.
Mountain biking is just jumping up and down.
Oh yeah. Josh is coming to my front door, barely able to walk in the door. He's so beaten up from his mountain.
It's not a good mountain biking season unless it ends with an injury.
Yeah.
Or a concussion.
Right.
That's an injury. That's an injury.
Yeah, it is. I guess.
Yeah. So when you have a bad back, that's the way to remedy the situation.
I have a thick skull.
So sorry, I digress here. But yeah, so there's a point to be made here as well. And that is that I laughingly say people speak 401k. And the reason, there's a multitude of things that contribute to that moniker that I place on people's foreheads. And many of them think it means do you or do you not have a 401k? And in fact, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with a way of thinking. And one of those particular things is, what are you going to do when you grow up? In so much as you are molded to do a thing, to be a thing. We've got a gentleman sitting over here as a videographer. And what are you going to do when you grow up type thing? If you were at a relatively young age to say, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, and they would probably put an eyebrow up and say, well, but what are you going to do? And you say, well, I'm not sure of that, but I'm going to be an entrepreneur. That's someone like Josh who scales a business, and the business that he's in is not even so much as important as he builds a business to scale and very likely build a business to sell. That's an entrepreneur. It's a rare thing. And the fact that you found that calling, you happen to be in the roofing business, and entrepreneurship was what you applied to something that you understood. Interesting. Interesting.
It's funny how life happens. Right place, right time, right mindset to digest the information. And honestly, like that mindset of like constantly learning, that's a core value of ours. I get it from my dad. Like my dad always told me, like, and two things, you know, he always told me I could be anything I wanted to. My upbringing, my parents, 100% amazing, loving, caring, believing in me, supporting me, helping me, but accountability. And then just, you know, I mean, it sets you on that right, like, path when we're talking about self-confidence too. I mean, what a blessing I had, you know, to have them.
Very good. Very good. So, the business that you were in, you said you went to school. Did you also have other exposures? And I'm asking this because I know some of what went on. I know that you purposefully spent money, attended other, you know, seminars and things to get exposed to people who are at a higher level than you, which frankly, folks, there's a lot of people in the exteriors business, and, you know, forgive me for this, but, you know, a lot of guys driving around with pickups and magnetic signs on them, and it's a Me Too situation. Those are small companies that don't go anywhere. When we're talking about Northface Construction and Josh Swisher, we're talking about something altogether different. It is a company that has grown and scaled, multiple crews. It's a bigger, more mature business than what you typically think of with a roofing business. So, what was your exposure to others who were doing that? What gave you the confidence to go and to spend that money? Because it ain't cheap. I mean, these weekends are like 10 grand, some of them. But you get exposure to people, and you have to have the confidence not to walk away and say, yeah, I don't ever want to be big. I am not, just like your guy. Because a lot of times they get intimidated by that big stuff, and they say, well, I'm not interested in being big. I just want to have a nice life. You went beyond that. So tell me.
Well, and it goes back to, like I said, my dad giving me the confidence, but then also constantly learning. Like, he's like, I took that from him as just curiosity. I'm curious, and like I have that confidence that kind of put me in those situations. And I, you know, look on my competitors' websites, what associations are they in? And I find out I went to that one. And then I go in the meeting and I learn something and I take a little golden nugget away. And then, oh, I just met this person. And I mean, there's people that I met just through like the small little putting yourself out there situations where, I mean, competitors that were massive. When I was just a one-man show, they'd talk to me, tell me everything they did. I mean, 20, 30, $50 million businesses locally that would like tell me and want to support me. And people just want to help people.
And that made you believe you could do it too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just puts you on that path to then the next person that you met, that network, and then learning and just being open to like always being a sponge. I've met so many people.
Being open to learning, folks. Let's take our first break. We will be right back talking about entrepreneurship with Joshua Swisher, who just happens to be in the exteriors business with Northface Construction. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Speaking with Josh Swisher, Northface Construction, talking about his younger years, what brought him to where he is. Prior to the last break, we talked about a couple things that I think are important. I'm just going to reiterate because I think standing on them has value for any of you who are in business or considering going into business. The first one is that Josh is a doer. He's a decision maker, and he does things quickly. It's not, that's interesting. Let me do some research. Let me get my ducks in a row. Let me think about it, which to me is nothing more than procrastination. Josh and I will discuss a topic, trying to determine a direction or maybe a change in direction. And as Josh walks out the door, which is normally the truth, the next client will be walking in, passing him. Am I wrong about that, Josh?
You're right on the money.
And while I'm in the office with the new client beginning that meeting, I will hear Josh standing on the stoop on the phone, telling his people to implement the thing that we just talked about. That is powerful. And that's why he's been able to succeed where others have not and grow where others have not. And I'm telling you, folks, remember that. If you're incapable of being decisive, you're going to have a heck of a time succeeding at anything. Next thing is he exposed himself. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you want to learn more about being a doer, you can listen to the May 18th show from last year. It's called Be a Doer.
Be a Doer. Yeah. And you know what? Probably that was inspired by somebody like Josh, maybe in great measure. The other thing is he had the confidence to be exposed to people who are at a higher level. Many people are very intimidated by that. They like to be the big fish in their small pond. And when they move on to a bigger pond where now they're a small fish all over again, they say, screw that. And they go right back to their small pond where they get to be a big fish. I mean that sincerely. You have to become comfortable being uncomfortable. And in an ever-growing process, Josh has embraced that. So next thing, when I met you, you were growing. And I think, maybe last year at this time, you were at 30 employees in your company. You had so much going on. And again, was that something that you ever envisioned when you started? Was the entrepreneurial exposure, I mean, when did you see in your mind's eye that could actually take place? Or were you just going on faith? How did you do that?
I think it is a combination, but also I'm a visionary. I'll sit with my imagination and I think we're going to go sky's the limit. And so like, for me, it's just that it was one step in the process, and I always felt like that's the direction we're going to go. Because my ultimate purpose at Northface is to provide a place where people can come and retire from and have a career. And like, if they aren't there forever, they're going on to the next thing. We're setting them up for the next opportunity. And to do that, I have to grow my business and provide resources and support. And I have to invest in those people. And to be able to do that, I have to keep growing. It's my obligation to them and my family.
Such an interesting thing. So for me personally, I can relate to this because once you have people, and this is almost like when you have a child. And when you have a child, you don't realize the responsibility you're taking on until you're in it, right? All of a sudden you have this child that needs to eat, and you are responsible for putting food on the table. And although it's so obvious, you don't fully appreciate it. And with employees, all of a sudden you realize that their lives and the things that they do in their off time with their families is all completely dependent upon you succeeding in your company to make that paycheck good, right?
100%.
Has that, at what point did you feel that impact, and did that drive you, or did that diminish your enthusiasm?
It's driven me, but there's a part of it. It's a weight, right? Like as an entrepreneur, it's a heavy weight to carry, but what an opportunity it is, because you won't become what you want to become without that pressure. It's just like having a kid, right? I had this conversation yesterday. Until you have a kid, I have 2 wonderful, beautiful children, a third on the way with my wonderful wife, Kitty. Until you find that extra gear, you find that extra why, you don't even realize that it's there until it's there and the pressure's on.
It creates a level of urgency and desperation to succeed. And you know what? We all need that.
Oh, yeah.
The key, I think, Josh, I'm asking, is that you have to continually, as an entrepreneur, be putting yourself in that position that forces you to do more than you would otherwise do.
Yes.
You have to become, know thyself and put yourself out there. Say you're going to do things in front of other people, so much so that if you don't do it, you're going to feel like you have let people down. And by God, you're not going to let that happen. And so it drives you to do more. It's a good thing.
It is.
I'm asking.
It's a blessing.
Yeah.
It's a blessing to put yourself in those positions, because you need pressure and you need to fail at times, right? Like, you want to succeed.
But you fear failure. You fear it.
No, I don't fear failure. I try to fail fast.
How about this? How about you detest failure?
I detest it.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, okay.
But I think there's a
failure can't stop you. Fear of failure can't stop you, but you will die trying not to fail.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like you've said before, being decisive allows you to make, even if it's the wrong decision, that gives you time in your head and you can pivot and make the right one. You're learning. It's through failure, you're learning. And you're adding that to the toolbox and you're moving forward. You're failing forward fast. You're going to be faster and further ahead by making mistakes, small ones here and there, which I wouldn't categorize failure. They're learning opportunities. And that's going to give you the momentum forward to win.
The real key is then to bring that forward, pay that forward, so that your leadership group is also given the same latitude to fail. And by the way, remember, that's with your money. Because if they don't have that same pressure, then they don't learn and they don't grow. And as a result, your company doesn't grow. So let's take another break here. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about the industry. We're going to talk about what's going on in the insurance industry, the exteriors industry. And let me just tell you, folks, it is profound. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So we're going to pivot now, and we're going to go into some industry changes that affect everyone. And I do mean everyone. If you're simply nothing more than a consumer, this is something of interest. If you're a mortgage broker, if you're a banker, if you're an investment real estate person, a commercial, residential, doesn't matter. This stuff is significant. And rather than me just spewing what I think, Josh, why don't you tell us the changes you've witnessed from your perspective and bring us up to speed on what I'm talking about?
Absolutely. So kind of what I'm seeing in the industry is a lot of supply. When I say supply, it's in regards to contractors, service providers. It's an easy to enter market. Over the last 6 years, we've seen a large amount of demand, right? Through storms, through COVID, with the surplus of finances and people's discretionary spending. But what we're seeing is a little bit of a market correction on both ends. So what's happening specifically on the insurance end is there's changes that are happening depending on the carrier, depending on the policy, depending on your home, depending on is it investment, stuff like that. And the main changes that I'm seeing on my end is, number one, the claims practices in general, and I won't go into too much detail on that, just for protection of myself.
We already did. I think you're right. Many people, not everybody, but many people have looked at paying their insurance premium as being nothing more than a slush fund to get their roof and exterior done.
Absolutely.
And they're just looking for an excuse with any and every storm that there is. Everybody in the whole neighborhood.
Yes.
Right?
And Minnesota is 100% conditioned to think of it as a savings account. The average roof in Minnesota gets replaced from hail or wind every 8 years, which is crazy because these are 50-year roofs, 30-year roofs, stuff like that. But people don't think about it as a maintenance item that they need to take care of and invest in. But right now, what's happening specifically in insurance is it's becoming that way through the endorsements, the exclusions and stuff like that, the high deductibles, the actual cash value policies. It's going to end up being, people are going to have to really think about, this is something I need to save for. This is something I need to have discretionary spending set aside for, or do preventative maintenance and extend the life of it so I can reduce my liability and outflow on the insurance. There's savings there. You can invest in impact-resistant shingles. You can do maintenance programs. You can extend the life of the shingles themselves. I mean, one thing we're doing that's unique to Northface is, number one, we have internal skilled labor force. I have people that are roofers on staff that are my W-2 employees, but not only that.
That's so unique, folks. That's so unique. Typically, it's a subcontracting situation. There are crews, and they're completely separate. Josh has employees doing this work, and that as a result, he has customer service and internal control that others do not.
Yes, quality control, 100%. Protects the brand, protects the homeowner. But we're able to do small repairs at an affordable rate that makes sense, where subcontractors can't come and do that. It's not worth it. There's not enough meat on the bone. But we pair that with the roof rejuvenation system. We can add 5 years of life back into an asphalt
and
shingle.
more, actually.
And more. We can do it more than once. And we can actually extend the life of that roof by doing our treatment. It gets rid of all the algae, lichen, and moss, which right now, in situations, what we've seen is from satellite imagery and technology, insurance companies will look at a satellite image and see a stained roof or trees overhanging the roof, and they say, we're not renewing you. You're too much risk. This is over 10 years old of a roof. Well, we've had situations where we're called out and they think they need a new roof and they're getting dropped, non-renewed. And we're like, you don't need this $36,000 roof. We can do the repair and fix all these issues, and they get reinsured by the same carrier. So that's some unique pivoting, right?
Well, I've seen after the work is done, it looks like it's a new roof. It's rejuvenated. It looks like it's a new roof, where before, some of these roofs, they look like they've got algae growing on them, and they look dilapidated and really are an eyesore. And
rustic is the term.
Rustic.
That is a look, patina,
yeah,
of some sort.
But when you do it, it looks like a new roof because they are refreshed and
it's more repairable. It's softer. The shingles have more oil back into them. But aside from that, that's a solution.
By the way, we're talking about this as though everybody understands it, and they don't. What is it that is actually being done to rejuvenate?
So what's actually being done is we're shocking and cleaning, killing off any of the organic material But then the secondary part of the process is we're actually adding oil back into the shingle with oil and an active ingredient that binds it into the asphalt. So it's like kind of seal coating your driveway.
Greasing that sucker up.
Yes, sir.
Gotta get your roof greased.
Yep, and it's eco-friendly. This is just our solution to the problem right now, right? Discretionary spending, out-of-pocket expenses with insurance, reconditioning of taking care of your home, and this is just a fraction of the cost of a re-roof. So this helps at least the customers in this region have a solution that can help them out and give them peace of mind. Well, a 5-year leak-free warranty on it.
If people are going to have to begin paying for this stuff out of their own pocket as opposed to insurance, undoubtedly that means a retail cost, and this is vastly more affordable for a lot of them. So
Absolutely.
it's going to become a thing. I have no doubt.
It is transferable, right? But like I said, that's the solution to the changes, like high deductibles. Well, you might be in the situation where you're like, a lot of roofers say you need a new roof. No, let's start with fixing the problem first and see if we can push that out. Let's look at the cost benefit analysis of the situation of your deductible cost. Talk to your agent, see if you have exclusions before you file a claim. I mean, reduction of claims saves people money on their premiums. I mean, you don't want to be a high volatility, high propensity for claims. That is something that they're looking at. I'm sure Evan can support that.
So we're in a unique situation in Minnesota because wind hail claims for roof are non-rateable. However, the actual opening of a claim can make
Non-rateable.
Exactly.
You gotta qualify that. Non-rateable. What does that mean?
It just means that it's not considered like an at-fault claim. If you have a wind hail loss, it's not the same as like, oops, I started a fire in my kitchen and burned down the house.
Right.
So the non-rateable claims generally aren't that big a deal, but claims volumes of any kind, just, I have 3 claims on my record, even if they're all $0 claims.
Oh, certainly if it's in the last 3 years.
Right? More like 5 to 7.
Oh, wow. Oh, man.
And
Sure.
you think you can switch carriers and they don't know? They're all talking to each other.
There's a system called Clue that puts them all on
Yeah,
with
exactly.
one another. Yeah.
They know.
Just like your credit report, all that stuff, it's run by the same sorts of information brokers, and they all have access to it. There are, you'll see advertisements that talk about like, oh yeah, we don't hold, like claims forgiveness, those types of things. And all that is to promote customer loyalty. I was explaining this to someone yesterday that I was quoting because I was running his record and I was like, this is auto, but he had like 3 roadside assistance claims. And he was like, they told me that they don't rate for that. And I'm like, yeah, they don't, but they still report it. So when you go and shop for insurance,
Frequency.
Correct. It's still showing up as a type of claim. And so you'll see that same sort of thing on homeowners where it's like, oh yeah, we waived the deductible for this and we don't hold it against you, but it shows up on your
Wait, what, you mean that I don't get to go to my favorite restaurant and complain and send every third meal back and get it for free? I'm not going to be able to do that? Is that what you mean?
I mean, I
kind of know people like that.
Yeah, and that's how things have been, right?
Right.
Like policies, like State Farm has great policies, right? Like the language in them is strong, but they are not like your low bottom dollar option. And your commercial with Kim talks about that, right?
Right.
I mean, you get what you pay for, but it's also not just like a maintenance program for your home every time something happens and go file a claim. I'm going to get new this. I kind of don't like this color. I kind of would like to change it. And that's the way, though, that these things were written and underwritten and adjusted so well over so many years that it created the monster of the roofing and exterior industry that just has grown up. Like I said, there's a mass supply of roofers. There's not a lack of roofers to do this stuff, but there is a lack of roofers that are able to solve the problem of the homeowners now. And what is their ability to service the warranties that they're doing in the years coming? I mean, the statistics on business failure, let alone roofing. How can you follow through? It's just like what you talked about on last week's show with the insurance companies. The low dollar premium gets you the low dollar payout in service.
No question, people are going to be more focused and more scrutinizing in their policies and their purchasing. Just my perspective, not Josh. I know that these insurance companies, I've got 2 public adjusting companies that are clients of mine, Fair & Claims and the adjustment firm. These are companies who fight on behalf of the consumer against the insurance companies on your behalf. And they're telling me that the lengths that an individual must go out of their own pocket to get the insurance companies to pay, they're just not paying, period. And they know that most people don't have the financial wherewithal or even the fight within them to go to war with the insurance companies. So the insurance companies aren't paying because they're sick and tired of paying for all this stuff. Hence why the premiums are so high. Hence why your deductibles, by the way, folks, for most of you, are going to move to a minimum of $10,000 or 2% of dwelling coverage, which is going to be thousands of dollars as a deductible. What's going to happen to the roofing industry? It is changing as we speak. Let's take another break. We'll be right back with Josh Swisher from Northface Construction. Welcome back, folks. I hope this is interesting to you. Again, I'll say that the industry is changing. The cost of your premiums are skyrocketing for all of these reasons. The insurance industry is trying to preserve funds, not pay out any more than they absolutely need to. On the flip side, you as the consumer feel like you're paying more than you ever have, and yet if you have a claim, you're having to battle to actually be reimbursed and indemnified in a way that possibly you never did before. And that's just the nature of things. We're also talking about the fact that literally people are buying homes, and as they go to close, the mortgage broker, because it's happening so quickly, is using a reasonable amount for homeowners insurance annually, as it was a year ago or 2 years ago. They find a house, they are pre-qualified, they go write a purchase agreement, and then they find out what the real insurance premium is when they're going to close in the next 30 days, only to find out that their qualification for that house gets knocked out. They can no longer afford it based on their debt-to-income ratio, and holy crap. And that's going on right now with insurance. The other thing is, if somebody, this is a great one, Josh and Devin, someone gets paid out on an insurance premium, say a roof, and you know how cheap these people are. So they will get paid out and they will not have the roof replaced. Then they'll go to sell their home, and the people who are buying that home want to buy that home, but to find out what, Evan and Josh?
Well, it's not going to be probably insured, especially if they are transferring that information. Evan,
they're not gonna pass along the information that a claim was made. That never happens.
Right.
What's gonna happen is you're gonna buy the house, and you will close on the sale, but you'll be like, oh, hey, I want to file a claim. It's been a year, and there's a 5-year-old claim on
there's legitimately, let's say, a hailstorm that really did do damage.
Right, yeah, exactly. You file a claim because you moved into this house and you have a claim.
Right.
And then it turns out that, actually the roof was supposed to have been replaced 5 years ago, and the insurer paid out on it, but the roof didn't get replaced.
Yeah.
Now you've got big issues.
Right. Now we don't have replacement costs. Now we've got a roof that's going to be depreciated by that period of time. And oh my gosh, in addition to everything that I just said, now they're not going to pay out 100% for the cost of a new roof anyway.
And that's where, the one thing that we'll add in here is property documentation. As a homeowner, documentation, I don't mean just paperwork and receipts, pre-loss condition, and maintaining photos and documentation of that property. For us, we use a technology where we take 50 to 100 photos every time we hop on a property, whether or not we service that customer or not. Now we have a timestamp and geotag location, everything. That is a thing to go back on to pre-loss. So then when the claim happens, it needs to be brought back to pre-loss, because we run into that. You're on an adjustment and it's hey, this is old damage. But what's new, what's old?
Right.
What's your reference point of what that is without record keeping or any of that stuff? And it gives this gray area of stepping out of coverage or extending coverage when it actually shouldn't be extended. There's a lot of roofers that are working that.
We have to be honest here. This purging of the small people is not really a bad thing, because the reality is these smaller companies that are not large enough and skilled as yours is, Josh, they are not. They come in. They offer the low ball price, and they do not have the margins left over to offer the customer service when things aren't done right and there's challenges or things that they have to come back on, which happens constantly.
Absolutely.
And or God forbid, they come from some other state because of the storm. And when you call them to come and fix something that you didn't recognize initially, they are nowhere to be found. So look, a lot of these changes that purge that out of the industry really aren't a bad thing from the consumer perspective, right?
No, not at all. Because like the thing is, how are you going to gain market share? You're going to service that customer better than your competitors, either through price or features, value add, whatever. So ultimately for the consumers, it's not a bad thing, but there always are bad players. You know, from a macro aspect, it's going to be good for the homes. It's going to be good for the homeowners. It's going to be good for everyone. There's a market correction, and moving forward with technology and just integration across the board, it's going to be good for everyone, but it's going to be painful for those who are not willing to change and fast.
And you can bet your rear end that when people are paying retail for these services, they're going to be much more focused on the quality of the service than they probably ever were, you know? Yeah. So, so what's on the horizon for you and your company, Josh?
Well, right now, it's that pivot towards the whole, like making sure that we're taking care of the current needs of the market right now through those services and products, and bringing things to homeowners that are options that they can afford and have easy ways to pay for them. From there, I mean, I got big, hairy, audacious goals. And like I said, I'm a dreamer. I mean, our purpose, we're going to become the contractor of choice in the Midwest. And that is what we're going to do. And we're going to do that through partnerships, through growth, through hiring the right people and who are part of our culture and believe in doing the right thing the first time, and charging a fair rate for what we're doing. And I think just growing a good company where people can enjoy where they work and feel the purpose that they're actually doing a good thing and be proud of it and leaving, that's going to attract the people that I want to work with and the customers, right? It's just reinvesting back into the people and back into the customers.
So we're really talking about the last folks standing are the ones who are going to win in this situation. It's always that way, isn't it? When things are bad, things are good. You wait for the bad times, because that's when
it's time to strike, baby.
You're a lion, not a lamb, right? When everyone else is a lamb.
Time to eat.
Yeah. And that's, it's a great thing. Josh, do me a favor. Why don't you throw out your contact information for everybody here if they want to talk to you about their situation?
Absolutely. You can contact us at northfaceconstruction.com. That's NORTH, F as in Frank, ACE, construction.com, based out of Elk River, Minnesota, serving the whole Twin Cities Metro, central Minnesota. And for referrals, we'll go further, or big projects. We do service also the western side of Wisconsin too. Our phone number is 763-433-2269.
You guys also do commercial stuff, right?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
We do. We do a few multifamily projects to your townhome associations. A lot of owner-occupied light commercial stuff. We're not getting into the massive flat roofing and stuff, but in those more specialty situations where it needs the extra hand of skill and also a direct contact at the company to help the property owner, we work with them. Investment properties, commercial properties, residential properties, all the like.
The commercial side is a bit of a different business, is it not?
100%. It's a relationship business, number one. And number two is a value driver business. Like, how can you drive value to that property?
All right. One more time, give me your phone number.
763-433-2269.
Very good. Joshua Swisher, an amazing entrepreneur, Northface Construction. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Todd.
Bye.